Okay, we're live. We're live. We're live. Welcome to Manifesting with Ari Mac. I'm your host, Miss Ari McIntyre, spiritual life coach, affirmation aromatherapy candle maker, and meditation coach as well. Basically, I am the spiritual hub in peace and just using the natural things we have around us. I don't predict the future, but I do help you plan it. And that I use with my astrology, aromatherapy, and the affirmations that we all have available to us, but we have to use our senses to tune into it. So, thank you for joining. And if this is your first time on one of my episodes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe because we have a lot to talk about. Now, because I'm metaphysical, I believe in the power of the mind and the spoken word. And I believe that your vibration, good or bad, can draw things to you. Now, I'm not going to say that you're not going to catch some heck, you're going to do some doo doo. That's a part of it. Okay, that's part of it. But how you deal with it, you see, that's the whole thing about life is how do I integrate all of these things that are happening to me and not make it me a hardened person where that bitterness kicks in, that resentment, that energy because you just never hit a goal or felt like you were cared for or hit anything that resembled anything that you thought you wanted in your life. Yeah, well, this is what we work on here at Spiritual Coach with Manifesting with Ari Mac. Okay. We work on that energy because that's the energy that's prohibiting you from moving forward. Okay. Now I'm going to talk a lot about astrology. Just follow along. If you have questions, DM me later or, you know, check out my stuff online. I have a lot of information from iHeart from years over there and my website. So there's plenty of information, but you got to follow, you got to like, you got to get engaged for anything to work. Okay. Now, astrology wise, we have a lot of planets in Aquarius right now. Now, Aquarius is the only fixed air sign of all the air trilogies. Okay. And it deals with electricity, unexpected change, progression, humanitarian acts, rebellions, just anything on the futuristic. That's where they want to be. That doesn't mean they're not traditional, though. There's a fine line and a balance. So, right now, we have a lot of Aquarius. The sun's in Aquarius, okay? We got Venus and Mars in Aquarius, okay? We got Uranus and Taurus going backwards, but that's going to end soon. Don't worry, I'll talk to you about that another time. And then Pluto, the planet that's behind the scenes, is also in Aquarius, and Mercury. So it's a time for you to tap into your dreams, your visions, your purposes. Like, what did you come down here for? What were you trying to make happen? Because that's what this energy is asking us to do now. And the best way that I know to do that is to go within. I always say start off with meditations, I go on affirmations, but I think this time, because of the nature of where we're going, we need to deal with more positive affirmations before we go to bed. And let me say why. One of the most powerful tools we have is our mind. Okay, it creates or destroys whatever the hell we allow it. Okay. So if you can use that rest period, which by the way, you need to rest because that helps recalibrate, reset, and reorganize all this stuff here within yourself so that you don't become overwhelmed and the mind and body can work together. So with all this Piscean stuff and Jupiter still being in Cancer, I thought, you know what? Let's tap into our imaginations going into sleep. Now, it's something that I recommend to pretty much everybody that you create that comfort, you create that space for yourself to rest, to relax. And if we have any Aquariuses in the house, please hit it on the chat. Like, hit me, let me know if you got Aquarius energy, because I would love to see or love to get some feedback on how you're feeling right now with all this energy like coming toward you personally. All right. Now, I'm not going to say that you should be afraid because change is happening all the time, but this is like a big old bucket of change, right? Like a big ass bucket of it with like Taurus energy spread on top of it, and then a lot of water, which is all our emotions. So it's just like, having to deal with the reality of situations, having to deal with the financial aspect of what works and what doesn't work, and then the emotional aspect of life. And the best way to deal with that, guys, is to set yourself up to rest, to sleep well, so that you can recalibrate. Yep. And I got a couple of tips and a couple of affirmations that I would recommend, just recommendation, that you may want to put in your repertoire. Because when I don't follow my sleep regimen, even if I'm traveling, it doesn't matter. There's certain things I do to indicate to myself that I'm going to sleep, right? And think about it. When you were a baby, okay, there was signals that you were going to rest. There was a binky, there was some food, things got soft, quiet. Okay, at some point you did fall to sleep. That's how we grew, is through our sleep cycle, to give our bodies a chance to catch up with our minds and spirits. Now, as grown folks, we can still do that. Yes. Yes, you can still set yourself up to have all that cushiony stuff along with your binky, okay, to help you self soothe and to relax. Because you've got to take off that fight or flight mode. You can't stay in that mode indefinitely. It ruins the body, totally messes up the skin, okay, dehydrates you because you're always worried about something. And then overall, it's just not a great place to be, in a constant, fearful, continuous mode of shit's gonna be happening. Even saying it out loud, it sounds exhausting. So, with this Aquarius energy and knowing my Piscean energy that's got that Saturn Neptune thing happening, I decided, you know what, we're going to talk about how to use this in our imaginations while we're resting. And if you don't rest, then this is where you're going to have to start working. But for those of you who do rest, we'll continue, okay? Because you have to make yourself a priority, and sleep is a part of the priority. Period. Say it again. You have to make yourself a priority, and sleep has got to be a part of that priority, as is food, as is water. Rest and relaxation, okay? And loving yourself. Those things will keep you sane. They will keep you from thinking all kinds of darkness and potentially making very, very, very poor choices. Like regrettable choices that you could have avoided by just using a little bit more of your common sense. Okay? So, the first thing, if you have no gratitude or you don't really see any good in anything, this is not going to be the right exercise for you, because you're already in another mental stage. And God bless you, and I wish you well. Okay, so no need to fight yourself if what I'm saying doesn't resonate or you find yourself saying silly things. You can keep them to yourself and just go on about your business, because your energy needs a different type of help, and that's not where we are today. Okay, all right. Now, for the rest of us who want to know just, hey, where can I start? Well, when you finally get back to your place of dwelling, let's say you've had that long day, or even if you work from home, at some point you do need to click off from the work mode type of situation. That's just a general thing I recommend. Something that you do that indicates I am no longer working. Okay. Hey, thanks, Miss Olivia. Okay, so you have to do something to say, I am no longer going to be tuning into this stuff. Now, it could be taking off an outfit or washing your hands. I don't care, but it has to be something that clicks over that I'm done. Okay, the next thing you need to do is to make sure you have a healthy snack or some sort of substance that you bless. Yeah, yeah, healthy. And I'm not saying it doesn't have to be, like some new taco stuff that's just hot and, you want to try. Do all that stuff. I'm just saying nurture your body. Make sure there's, a piece of cheese or a vegetable, a fruit. It doesn't have to be major. Okay. It could just be celery and peanut butter. Okay. It could just be, just cheese and crackers, like I said, a banana, a carrot, a piece of fruit, whatever. But give yourself some substance. And while you're there, bless your food. Just say, I give thanks for this nourishing food. That's it. Or just thank you. Thank you for this food. You don't even have to say who you're thanking. Just thankful that somebody bought it for you. Thankful you had the money to get it. Thankful that you had a job to go pay for it. Just thankful. Now that's going to kickstart the chemicals in your body to receive a nourishing, substance. Like I said, crackers, cheese, fruits, celery, and peanut butter, doesn't matter. Just as long as it's a substance, because you need to do that to break the fast of work. Okay. You can also have a protein shake, whatever's in your regiment, whatever it is that you do that you feel comfortable, do it. But just make sure there's a little bit like right there, because that's going to give you that substance to know that I'm giving back to my body because you've already given away enough of yourself for the day. Okay. So just that kind of closure. Okay. That's going to set you up really, 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 really nicely. Now, the next step is going to be about your unwinding. Now, this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one because lifestyles change and things happen and we travel and all the other stuff. Totally get it. Okay. Totally. And I've been talking to my clients and family members about this for many, 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 many moons because routines are, sometimes not easy to see. Like you may have a routine, but you don't consider it a routine because it's kind of like what you do. That's a routine. So, what I would recommend is observing yourself a little bit on what do you like to do to unwind outside of playing on your phone and any electronic gadgets. Now, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, okay? Because you need to let the brain calm down. Yeah. You just need to let the fingers, the hands, everything just to kind of settle into the body. You can't do that if you're still playing on your phone. You're still doing the synoptic thing and your serotonins are not getting a chance to kick in. So you have to take the phone, put it on the charger or wherever you put it and just leave it be because this needs to be a part of the unwinding process. Yeah, just to unwind. And it's not going to happen overnight. So you have to observe yourself and maybe put the phone down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and on and so forth. But you need to see how do I unwind? Okay. Putting electronics is one of the keys that I've seen sabotage a lot of people because we use it to unwind. We got our music on there, we got our TV shows. I totally get it. So it is tricky. I am not going to say it's easy because if you do have music you play on your phone, play your music on your phone. Okay. It's just you have to find that line, right? So that you're not getting back into picking up the phone and now you're playing on the phone and you get it. So if you are going to use music, just make sure you have something the phone can be cradled in and you don't have to fuss with it too much because that's another thing that creeps back in and you don't even realize it. I did it the other night. I was trying to get to bed early because I had a really, really, really important meeting like on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast at 3 hours ahead. And I wind down, did all the stuff I was supposed to do, got to the point of okay, lights are out, everything's ready. Could not go to sleep to save my ass. Couldn't do it. Hmm. Don't forget to drink your water. Okay. I'm carrying this because it's super, super cold. And I like cold water on my throat right now. But I ended up costing myself like a couple of hours. And then when I did get up, I had to stay in bed a little longer to pray a little longer because I knew I didn't give my body a chance to rest. And it was just my own BS. I was just dinking around. And so we have to acknowledge that so we don't all get all groggy and all pissy because that's a self thing. You can't get mad at yourself. That's how you got to work it out. That's how you got to work it out. So bless the meal. Start your winding down sessions, especially with this energy coming down with all this stuff in Mercury and Venus and Mars all in Aquarius. That means you may have some unexpected opportunities. People may pop over at the last minute. That's all cool, fine, and great. Now, I would get into a habit of having something you do for self. Now, I do baths and I light my candles. That's my ritual to signify I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And I usually have a cup of tea. That's another good way to single to the body, soothing. Doesn't have to be hot tea, it can be cold tea, it doesn't matter. Just you have to start telling the mind and body, I'm winding down. I'm relaxing. Because once you get to this place, here's going to be the biggest challenge. Now you have to tell yourself it's okay. I know, I know, it sounds weird, but you literally have to tell your conscious mind I give myself permission to rest. Say it with me. I give myself permission to rest. And you literally have to declare it. And I'm saying that because your mind will continue unless it's given a directive. Yeah, because your mind is already racing. But if you set up your body and you already, had a good meal, so you're good, you know, you're saying something positive, you're blessing your food. Thank you, sweet, sweet spirit, for my food. Okay. And you need to do that kind of prayer. It doesn't have to be deep. Okay. Affirmations work on any level. It doesn't have to be long affirmations. It could be, thank you, Father, for this meal. Amen. That's an affirmation. And there's nothing wrong with saying something about, thank you, body. Thank you, physical being. Thank you for everything I have. There's nothing wrong with giving thanks just out loud, so that you can give, again, that positive vibration a chance to be released. And guess what, guys? Helps you sleep better, because you're going to sleep comfortably knowing that you do have food, you do have shelter, everything is okay, and you have tomorrow. Because tomorrow's not promised. We hope it's there, but all of us do have a certain amount of time, and then that's it. My challenge for you is, do you want the quality of your time to be of something of, joy? Or do you just want to work, 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 and stress, 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 stress? Because this world does offer both. Yeah, you can easily find something to stress about all day long, as also you can find something to be joyful about. Is the glass half full? Is the glass half empty? Because once you get into these steps that I'm speaking of, then you have to go into breathing. Yeah. Once you've given yourself permission, once you've got yourself where you're comfortable and you feel safe, you now have to focus on your breathing. And I am just simple breathing in and out. That's it. Nothing major, nothing over the top, nothing extreme. Literally, just natural core breathing. And then observe. Really just observe your body. At this point, you probably will be on a ready to fall asleep because the body's relaxed and you're saying soothing things. Now, I also do online a meditation class twice a month that does provide a lot of insight for those who need that extra help getting into the deeper sleep. You can check that out at candlesbyari.com. And it's something we've been doing for over 20 years around here. I meditate all day, every day, at least 3 or 4 times a day. And it's because it soothes my soul. It keeps me relaxed and it keeps me clear on the decisions I need to make moving forward. Because, we never know if anything's 100%, billion% right or wrong. We just have to do our investigation. Now, with this deep Aquarius energy, man, this is the time for you to get into yourself. This is the time for you to take these unusual opportunities, because that's what's going to feel like things are shifting. Uranus is in Taurus, and Uranus does rule Aquarius, but it's in the earth sign of Taurus. That's two fixed planets that normally don't fit together, that are having to work together. So for Taurus, it's like just getting used to things not being settled and not getting definition as much as they want. And for Aquarius, it's about being a little bit softer, because they got that Venus influence and looking at the practical side of life. So we're putting those two together as we speak from the heavens above. So this is a time for you to think about your value, as a person. Where do you see yourself? Or are you enjoying the quality of your existence? Have you met your personal goals? You know, you don't have to have a bucket list to live. I know people that do bucket lists that they're like, as I do this, I'm gone. I don't understand that. That sounds kind of weird, but to each his own. I like to just do stuff to be doing stuff, because why not? Why can't you do more adventures? Why can't you do more research? The beautiful thing also about this energy is it's very progressive. So Aquarius energy rules progression, electricity, futuristic. Think about Spock from Star Trek. That kind of energy, very logical, but definitely likes to hang out with humans, because their humans are interesting, because their logic is, it's formidable, but it's kind of bland. So it needs a little color, and that's where humans come in, because Lord knows human beings, mammals as we are some colorful creatures that's got our own hangups and our own things that are just downright trippy. And so I think at this time, it's just imperative that you tune into you, especially with that earth, because Taurus is only fixed earth sign. So with two signs like that, I think it's trying to get us to get ourselves together internally, to stop beating ourselves up and, always thinking we should come in at the short end of the stick. Ask more questions, do your due diligence. If something doesn't feel right, honor that. Your body doesn't have any reason to lie to you. I tell people all this, all the time, especially when you get into the metaphysical world. You're asking, then you start receiving, and then you got to get used to receiving. I know, right? Because that's also a new thing where now you pray for something, you ask for something. I have a really good friend, I have a lot of people in the education world, and there's just some cases that you can't teach in school because it's not a school issue you know anyway, so my friend had one particular student, has a really rough home, but also has a very low IQ. And it seems that they're kind of like they're on like the con artist side of things, like they're always looking to sue someone or try to get some money from someone. So the kid doesn't really have a lot of really respect for pretty much anything. And my friend, the teacher, is always trying to find out, do you need food, do you need to rest, what do we need to do for you to do this assignment? And she just asked for truth. And the boy told her he has no desire to learn anything. And she was like, can I ask why? And he said, because I don't need it. I know how to get what I want. And he meant that. He couldn't have been more than 13 or 14. Now, what does that mean? He knows how to get what he wants from a 13-year-old? Nothing good, but she heard it from him. She respected his choice. She still tries to help him, but she does understand he doesn't feel like he needs it. That's not a lot to work with, guys. When you're doing the work and putting the energy, and then the other person is not really reciprocating and shows no interest in joining. So that's when you have to make a boundary decision. And that's why it's important to be calm on your insides, to use this energy right now to tune into, what am I trying to make happen? What is my purpose? What is spirit trying to tell me? Because being honest with yourself is the most important thing to start any sort of healthy mental lifestyle. Because if your imagination is crud, then most likely you have a very jacked up attitude about a lot of shit. And that's sad. But it's a choice. And that's why I always recommend breathing, taking a step back, making sure you're in your right mind. Because the other part is when you're done with something, guys, be done with it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't ask yourself why, what. Done. Because if you've done all you can do, and you've really put forth that positive vibrational energy that you know that you could do to the best of your ability, like I tried, then it's time for you to give it away. It's time for you to give it to spirit, to let go, to stop worrying, to stop playing mental games, and stop driving yourself bananas, because maybe this is just the way this was supposed to happen. Maybe this is just the way that this energy flows. Who knows? But at a certain point, we all have to have a healthy boundary for our own mental well being, or you will be batshit crazy down here. You hear me? Because the inundation of information is awesome, but it can be overwhelming. And it can make you feel like you don't have too many choices or limited your thinking because you are not looking at your immediate future. You're looking way ahead, and maybe through the eyes of not such nice people. Look, there's some beautiful people in this world, and there's a lot of beauty, but there's also a lot of ugliness. And we have to look at all sides of that and do the best we can as individuals and communities to make the world as best we can a better place. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a martyr and stop your work and anything like that. It just means if you can help, do. If it's not going to bother or take away too much, but if you want to be an ass about it and go out of your way to absolutely do nothing for anybody because that's how you feel, good luck. Have a nice day. Have a nice life. Wish you well. Because you're going to receive that energy back because you're giving nothing out to the universe. Now, I don't know if that's bad or good. I guess that depends on your perspective. For me, that's not so good because that seems like an empty vessel. And empty vessels are not happy people. That's all I can tell you. So, with this 5 degree retrograde, not retrograde, that's coming. Slipped. Yes, we do have a Mercury retrograde next month. It starts at the mid February, like February 20th, I think, something like that. 27th. I don't have my notes in front of me. I don't have my notes in front of me, but it's coming. And it'll be the first retro for this year. But don't worry about it. I'll have some notes for you for each of the signs. Hey guys, don't forget to get my free report that I put out that gives you all the little tidbits that I talk about here on the show and what's coming up for CBA and the classes and everything. You want to like and subscribe and follow. All right. This is about positive vibrational energy, dealing with the negativity because it does exist, but not letting it overwhelm you till you don't exist. Till you're so inundated and swamped with so much that you are not the nicest person, most pleasant peeps to be around. I see this energy. I recognize this energy, but I respect the process that each soul has to go through. But I do not let them pull me into their nonsense because it's not my place, but I will not be harmed. You see that force of balance that comes from within you by having that healthy viewpoint of self that you deserve better, that you want better. Why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you have better? And Encounters by Ari, a spiritual coach with Ari Mac, manifesting with Ari Mac here. That's our game. Is to create that mental. It's like a spa for you guys online, right? Because it's a mental place to go for not only energy, but for like just a positive word, a smile, just something that's not trying to scare the bejesus out of your ass all the time. Because sometimes I think the news and everything else is just sensationalism at its worst. And it's sad because it could be a tool for so much more. But everybody's got to do what they have to do. So, vibrationally, with this 5 planet in Aquarius energy, it's progressive. It's an opportunity for you to be innovative. And with that sprinkle of Taurus and that sprinkle of that Pluto with that Scorpio influence, I can't help but think it's a chance for us all to make investments that are going to grow exponentially in the years to come. Just giving yourself opportunity. If someone is starting a business and you understand the business and you understand what they're offering, do your homework. Maybe invest a couple of bucks. Look for new opportunities on the internet. I do think that there are going to be new and better ways to connect. And yes, there are going to be shysters because, con artists are con artists, baby. I can't do nothing about that. But you have the resources now to do your homework. I had someone hit me up and ask me, well, how do I know that you're legit? I'm like, just Google my name, look at my history, see what's online. Because that's the best way to verify information, guys, is do your own homework. The more accurate your information, the more confidence you should have in who you're dealing with, right? That's the logic. And look, I do get it. We get intimidated. There's a lot of dark stuff. Totally get it. Find your niche. Find your niche. Social media is a wonderful place, but you got to find where you want to fit. And then you got to see where you resonate. There's a lot of changes going on. I myself started over at iHeart and now I'm here on YouTube. And actually, this has been a lot more funner because I get more freedom here with you guys directly and direct communication. It's a beautiful thing. Sometimes bigger is not necessarily better. All right. And on my other social medias, it's just, fun. TikTok's going through a lot of pain. I think they recalibrated and it's not so hot. But hey, you know what? It serves a purpose. It's an outlet. It's a place for you to go. I personally just look for like I'm probably gonna move to Substack, so definitely look for that in the future. But we need this energy and you need to feed your soul in the most positive ways. With this 5 degree retrograde, before you sleep at night, use the affirmation I am thankful, I'm of grace. You know, peace be with me, watch over me. Whatever prayers you remember as a child, get in contact with the little person inside of you. There's nothing wrong with holding yourself and being thankful just to have survived. I mean, because some people have had some horrific childhoods and didn't become horrifically ugly people. Okay? So, energy begots energy, but we all have to figure out the best way to manage it. All right. So, when you're getting ready to do your wine dine and getting ready to chill out for the evening, but when you start your affirmations, start with blessing your food. First thing, it could be a full snack, it could be a tiny snack, doesn't matter. Give thanks for what you have. That's your first affirmation right there. Secondly, you start looking for yourself to wind down. What is your triggers, especially when you get off from work? Have something that definitively defines I am off from work. Boom. Light a candle, uh, open a window, take a deep breath, whatever. But do something to tell yourself I am now disconnected from that, especially if you work from home, because that's hard. You can just sit in one spot and get caught back up. So make sure you define it. Okay. And start that ritual of winding down. Find out what that is. What does comfort you mean? And try to leave the phone out of it. I know it's hard. And if you have music, I get it. You got to work around it. But these little gadgets rob us of so much sleep because it's such a distraction for our minds to be taken somewhere else for a moment in time. But we have to train ourselves to tune into what's going on in our bodies, in our worlds, and amongst us and our family and friends. And with this Aquarius energy, especially sitting with all the water, with Jupiter being in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune both in Pisces, okay? And Pluto is a water sign, little Scorpio. So this is a great time to tune in because we're being amplified, you guys. I mean, like, you are being heard, okay? And that's why you cannot allow yourself to be silenced. That's why you have to make sure you're resonating with who you are and what you came down here to do so that you can be happy. Happy people make better places to be, in my opinion. Guy, I'm not saying greedy people can't figure out some stuff. They can be very enticing, but it's something about when something's authentic and pure and hey love, how you doing, Martha? And just wanting to be in the mode. Mm, it's just something about that authentic energy, you guys. And we have the power to control that through our thoughts, words, actions, and deeds. Now, at Candles by Ari, okay, we send out a blog at least once a month, and then we have a newsletter we send out weekly just to give updates on what's going on and the classes and everything we have available. I would suggest you start off with the free report. We got a new report coming in for February, which will be available on Monday, and the link will be here. Or you can go to the candlesby.com site, and it should be there. It should be up. Basically, that's to kickstart you. It's just to give you a little cheat sheet of what's going on in general in astrology. The interpretation, that's where I come in. And I created a program that drives just that energy home. And it's called the Guided Astrology Program. We call it the GAP. Okay? Because it fills in that gap of what's going on with you on a psychological, spiritual, and mental level. Because the cosmos is affecting us. Whether or not you want to acknowledge it is up to you. But having little notes and a little extra insight, hey, can't hurt. So that program's right now introing at $9.99. After that, it's a monthly $29.99 a month, and you get a weekly report giving you dates and information about your sign, about your element, and some suggestions with affirmations, some aromatherapy as well. It's like having a spa moment, but online. And I can't encourage you enough to join us and to come on board. At least try for the first 90 days. You can discontinue at any time, but just a community, just to have something where wherever you want to tune in, the because we go through Zoom, the links are available. where you can listen to a positive thought or check out one of the shows. And we're going to be doing a lot more programming coming up this year with the color and fragrance class, which talks about your power colors and the fragrances that I found to be the most powerful when you start dealing with people. Because there's certain fragrances that even if you don't realize it, you submit to. Yeah. Because the energy brings back a kind of like a dominant type of thing over you. And that's not a bad thing if if you're into that sort of thing. But you do need to know where your positioning is. That's the power of scent. That's the power of energy. Like once you understand how that works and how it affects you, it gives you so much more freedom to be creative. And I know Valentine's is coming up. And that's a time when you want to smell good. If you're going to be out, if you're interested in getting a sweetheart, because I know I am, I'm like, hey, who wants to be my Valentine? Or better yet, who wants my Valentine's, So, that's the time you smell pretty. You put on better lipstick. You kind of wear clothes that don't have, stains on them. Yeah, I'm just saying, you make more of an effort to be more alluring. But you don't have to wait for a holiday to do that. The things that we teach at Candles by Ari is that should be an everyday thing. It should become normal for you to want that feeling of peace, of tranquility, to know that you met your needs today and you're satiated. And that's not always easy to get, people. Now, I know the power of prayer, spoken words, and affirmations, aromatherapy. I've seen it. And just like with my friend, okay, when she had to deal with that student that said he didn't want to learn, well, the end of the conclusion of that story is that his parents decided that that school wasn't quite what they were looking for. So they moved him to another school all by himself, all by themselves. He was removed from her circumstances because she really could not help him. And she really wanted to bring in a student that could benefit from the time she has for this year. That's fair, you guys. The young man says he does not care, doesn't want to do it, ain't interested, and he meant it. That was the thing. You can't force him. So, through her prayers, because she said, if I can't help him, please help him find the help where he can. And that's what the prayer was answered. He transferred to another place that would be more suited to whatever it is, according to his parents. That's all we can ask for. That's all we can ask for. And pray for our fellow man who maybe are making really, really, really poor ass choices, and just pray for them to get their heads together and that it doesn't consume us and them, mostly them. So I think we're good with, you know, hey, don't cross my line, have your healthy boundaries and listen to your bodies, guys. Wow, it's amazing to me how I always hear, yeah, I felt that. Oh, I sensed that. Oh, I thought that. But I'm like, but do you not think the universe is telling you something? Do you not hear them like trying to get your attention? I mean, this is one of those things that I have to pray on myself because I always have to ask, or is I moving too quickly or are they moving too slowly? Because when you start seeing a pattern, and that's what I'm good at, pinpointing your pattern, especially based on some of the things that you brought in to deal with, some elements, and we'll talk about that at a later time. But when you start recognizing what you're doing, you have the choice to keep doing it, modify it, or stop it altogether. Because at that point, you're conscious of it, right? You're conscious of what I'm doing. And then you can't blame anyone. Yeah, it gets really, really deep. Yeah. I had some people in the class. We do meditation class twice a month. And we had some newcomers. And one of them was like, she was like, wow, that brought up so much stuff. Because when you go inward, guys, and I take you to your deepest part of self, right? There's nobody there to argue with you. There's nobody there beating you up. There's nobody trying to put you down. It's just you and whomever you invite to come in to support your energy. Once you realize that you're your own worst enemy and that maybe you didn't learn something the most healthiest way, like maybe your parents or whatever family just didn't have the best etiquette on how to raise a child. So some of the things you're experiencing is because They didn't really show you a different way. Just realizing that takes a lot of pressure off and beating yourself up as to why. Because if you know better, you do better. And moving forward, that's what you do. You just try a little bit better, do a little bit more, make a little bit more of an effort. That's it. Those baby steps builds foundations. And those foundations build pillars. And those pillars are solid to build and grow whatever you want on top. But you have to have that foundational energies to know that you can do it, that you want to put the energy behind allowing that good into your life instead of living the what ifs. If I could, maybe, sort of, kinda. Because you can always be there, guys. There's always a door opening of something coulda, mighta, shoulda, woulda, but it didn't. And that's the reality. It didn't. So we have to deal with what's happening right now, like where you're at right now and how you're feeling about self. And where do you want to be? What financial changes do you want to see make? What kind of love life do you want to have? Do you have a hobby or something you do that's just for fun? I know these things sound crazy, but you know what? Healthy people have these things. And they just are going about their business, being pleasant and not tripping. Now, one of the things I recommend for an affirmation is to make sure you have something that gives you some intent. Now, Candles by Ari, our candles do have a lot of intent in them. And this is a rainbow. This is just something I made for myself. Oh, it smells so good. But when you smell something and then you say something like smelling this candle, and then the affirmation that just random, that's just a random one. I allow the pure, clean, pure, positive energy that I have inside of me to grow and gain strength in all areas of my life now, under grace and perfect way, and so it is. Now I allow the clean, pure, positive energy that I have inside of me to grow and gain strength in all areas of my life now. That's powerful, you guys. That is powerful. Hi, greetings. Hey, Meg, in Garden 7895. Thanks for joining, because you're conjuring up something to allow yourself to receive. And I mean, you can do this with any of your favorite scents, your favorite herbs. You have stuff in your pantry, I'm sure you do. So you can make up a little potpourri. But it's just something about saying something and smelling something. And another good way is to do it, and that's at candlesbyari.com. Let me know. That's money, communication, creativity. It's green, yellow, and orange. Love it. Basically, once you start seeing things loosen up and seeing things start happening, that's when you get even deeper. Because now you can allow that stuff to go to open up to what's the next level of my evolution. And that's where the real fun begins. Because maybe you discovered things you didn't know about yourself. You know, remember why you like something. I mean, it's adorable to see those little treasures of our mind open up to things that we just forgot. Got caught up in so many responsibilities or school or being this or being that, that we forgot to have fun. Well, with this Aquarius energy, one of the things it does offer is unexpected opportunities. So if you get a chance to do something that's fun, that's free and fun goes really well, but also just available in your local area, that would just make you feel good. If you can do it, do it, because that's the universe giving you a little kiss to say, go out and play. We all need to have that break, that downtime. And that's why before you go to bed, it's so important to do your affirmations. Okay? Set yourself up when you go change from work. As soon as your mental knows you're done from work, be you work from home or you coming in from a hard day, grab that meal, that snack, and bless it. Just say something pleasant before you eat it. Okay? That is the best way to kickstart this energy towards yourself. All right? Because you're already giving it boom, 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 blessing. Okay? Learn how to do the wind down. Learn what your wind down looks like. You may need music, candles, maybe just watch a little funny movie. Don't know. But you got to get into that. You got to find that way to get your body to relax. Okay? And as you do that, just start looking around to see, what self soothes you. What do you need to have? A comfy pillow, maybe some floral scents, some flowers. What is it? Okay. And then give yourself permission, you guys. Say out loud, I give myself permission to relax and regenerate. I know that sounds like obvious. No, say it out loud, especially when you're having a little harder time falling asleep, because that means your mind is restless. And please leave the phone out of it. If you can, put the phone on the side and leave it be. I know that's tough. I know that's tough because we all got like little mental things going on. But I promise you, if you can get in the habit of leaving the phone, it will help you fall asleep a little faster, because your fingers and your mind, they can't create serotonin if you're constantly keeping them busy. So you want to like get that relaxation from fingers, hands, everything. So you go, right, so that the body can like really regenerate. And you know what? Your problems, they'll still be there, but they won't be so overwhelming because you got a chance to let go of them for a little bit and maybe come up with some new ideas, or maybe do a little bit more research, or maybe ask some different questions. That's the beautiful part about the universe. It constantly gives us stuff. We just got to figure out how to use it. We have to figure out how to tune into it. And then breathe. I know that sounds like another obvious one. Tell yourself, to relax, but breathe. Literally, just deep breathing in and out. Just literally breathe. You'd be very surprised how lack of oxygen creates so much tension. And it's one of the easiest things we can do. Yet, how many of us go to that first? And as you breathe, just allow your body to relax and just let it naturally fall into its natural condition. Boom, you're resting. That's where you want to go. You want to get into that cradle of comfort where you and your body are just at ease. Learning to do affirmations before bed, learning to set yourself up to rest will create such a resource of regeneration so that you can make better choices, especially if you're making significant changes in your life and you want to be successful. You have to take care of the body so it can facilitate your success. Simple as that. The imagination is the quickest, fastest, easiest way. You got to set up the imagination to receive. The mind body has got to rest. The mind has got to relax and relinquish, or at least go into sleep mode, so that all the other parts of the body can regenerate and resort out all the stuff you do. I mean, I'm sure by now sometimes your wrist hurts and stuff. Wonder why holding your phone. That's what I figured out. So it's something we all, and I include myself, have to work through. It's not too bad, but if we don't pay attention, it's not going to get too good. Put it to you like that. So you want to spend a little bit more time setting yourself up for better sleep habits, blessing your snacks, making sure before you go to sleep, things that you need would be there. Your phone's on charger. If you have a bottle of water just in case you need it, like some chapstick, maybe some hand lotion, simple things just to hydrate a little bit, and maybe comfy pillow, and just a nice little scent going. And just give yourself permission to be, like literally out loud say, I give myself permission to be, and then focus on that breathing. Just deep in and out, and allow that to become natural upon falling asleep. And along with the affirmations that you create, I've made a lot of suggestions in this video. You can rewind it. You can also go to candlesbyaries.com. All our products, or all the candle products, do have an affirmation on them. Okay, we do also offer mindful guided meditation twice a month. And for February schedule, I think we're going to be February 8th and February 22nd, Pacific Standard Time, 3 o'clock. Okay, it is taped. So if you do register and cannot make it, you can receive a copy of that Zoom link. Now remember, you have free will. And for manifestation to appear, you have to get your imagination and your courage up. What are you ready to do? What changes are you ready to make? Because once you get that clear, really nothing else can stand in your way. It's just going to be taking those baby steps, taking those baby steps. And we here at Candles by Ari, Manifesting with Ari Mac, Spiritual Coach Ari Mac is all about that. So like us, follow us, share, hit us up on all the other social media, and just know that you're blessed. Just remember you are blessed. All right. I'll be live again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I'll have some stuff for Valentine's. I'll have, if you get my newsletter, you'll get it. If you get the free report, I'm going to put in the scents that are like the sexiest, in my opinion, for Valentine's. So you can go forth and, figure out what you want to do with that. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Love you guys. Stay blessed. Bye.